The 4th of July weekend has proven to be nothing but busy in Hollywood this week. We have two fourth installments in popular movie franchises with the like of Despicable Me 4 and Beverly Hills Cop Axel F, as well as the final film in Ty West's X trilogy, Maxine. And yet still, Friday, some theaters will have an early access screening to one of my highly anticipated movies of the year, Fly Me to the Moon. My name is Juan Torres. If you're new here, this is sort of like your new home for everything movies. I have a weekly show called This Week in Hollywood where I cover the latest news, trailers, and announcements for Hollywood that week. The latest episode is out now. This video, however, is going to be part of a new series I'm going to call Watch It, Stream It, Pass It, where I'm going to cover all the new movies releasing and tell you whether it's worth your time by giving it a rating of Watch It, meaning you should have bought your ticket yesterday and head to theaters now. Stream It, meaning you can probably wait till this movie's on streaming services. Or Pass It, which sounds pretty self-explanatory to me. With that said, this is the first of 3 videos I'll be covering this week. As the title says, this is my Beverly Hills Cop Axel F quick review. I'm going to cut to the chase and say this is a very enjoyable movie with a ton of funny jokes and gags and cool practical action sequences that will definitely deliver a good, enjoyable time. I start off by saying that because I really want to make it clear this movie is enjoyable. But it doesn't do anything special. Now, I've never watched any of the previous Beverly Hills Cop movies, but it felt very akin to Bad Boys, and as a matter of fact, this movie has a very similar premise to Bad Boys Ride or Die, which opened earlier this year. Now, I'm not going to do comparisons, but if you watched Bad Boys Ride or Die and you had a good time, this movie's a lot like it. Because of that, I feel Netflix should have put this movie out in theaters, even for at least a week, as with the success of Bad Boys Ride or Die, I feel this would have done very similar numbers. Not only that, but it's a film that would go well with a packed audience. All the jokes and humorous action sequences would have felt drastically different if I were watching it in a sold out theater with a bunch of people reacting and laughing to the movie. As for the movie, it has a very simple premise. It takes an aged Axel Foley living in Detroit and forces him to move out to Beverly Hills to rescue his daughter, who was recently threatened by a bunch of crooked cops. While the story is important, it's not the main driver of the movie. The movie's more focused on, and I feel it thrives when it's putting Eddie Murphy together with new and returning characters and just letting them riff back and forth. And the movie knows it, as it looks for a bunch of scenarios to do just that. On a side note, the score is interesting. It's almost sort of intrusive enough to where you have Eddie Murphy in some ridiculous vehicle chasing bad guys, and this disco techno pop music's just playing in the background, and you notice it just enough, and it's just silly enough to where it adds to the comedic factor of whatever's happening on screen at the time. Like I said, since the movie's at its best when it's having fun, and you can see everyone is having a good time making the movie, the only part where I feel like it drags is when it puts Eddie Murphy and his daughter together on screen. You would think these would be the best scenes, but it just falls flat. As Eddie Murphy is having fun and his daughter's just constantly shutting him down until at some point at the end of the movie, Eddie Murphy gets hurt and she's like, well, my father's not all that bad. So much so, in fact, that the film is pretty much Eddie Murphy teaming up with a different partner every once in a while. And once we team up with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, after being teamed up with his daughter, you can just feel the energy come back into the movie. Kevin Bacon, who's also in Maxine, who also released on Wednesday, I did watch it in theaters, review will be coming soon, plays a new character called Captain Grant. And just like in Maxine, he eats up the role. Aside from the returning characters and of course Eddie Murphy, he really takes up a big screen presence, and you kind of want to see more of him in films like these. Look, to wrap up my thoughts, watching the movie is a good time. If you have some free time this 4th of July, gather a bunch of your friends, grab some drinks, grab some pizza, grab some popcorn, and be prepared to laugh. The film will deliver. But if you're looking for anything beyond that, you will not find it here. And I don't necessarily think you need to either. The film tries to be a funny buddy cop comedy, and it does just that. And it delivers some crazy practical action sequences that are quite cool. And as for the rating, you really have no other choice but to stream it. I wish it was in theaters, but unfortunately it's not. But I recommend you do stream it. You will have a good time. If you want to check out some other videos for the week, I have the Maxine quick review coming out later. I'll leave the link down below. Once I get to see Fly Me to the Moon on Friday, I'll be putting out a quick review for that. I have This Week in Hollywood, which will be releasing on Sunday. You can stay tuned for that. That's pretty much it. I'm Juan Torres. Thank you for joining me.